Good morning. Good morning. I'm Lindsay Dunkel. I'm a member of the worship team here at the Unitarian Universalist Community of the Mountains. By placing this basket of black oak acorns on our altar, we acknowledge the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible after generations of erasure and exclusion from California's history. We understand we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, never given up, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the genocide of their people. We commit ourselves to supporting the Nisenan in their efforts to stabilize their people and restore tribal sovereignty. I invite us all, in the spirit of generosity, to offer one another a greeting this morning. Those of you on Zoom, I invite you to turn your cameras on and give each other a wave. And those of you in the room, won't you please greet some of those around you, especially if you do not know them. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity in extending greetings. Will you please take a moment now to silence your cell phone so that we may be fully present with one another? And as another way to become fully present to this time together, this here, this now, I invite us all to take 3 deep breaths, fully aware of breathing in and breathing out each time. Hello anew. Several of you responded to a request from me to picture generosity, to send in photos that spoke to you of generosity with this line in mind. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. And so throughout the service, we're going to see some of those photographic interpretations. And here comes the first group. You might notice a gardening theme. The abundance of our lives together, offered by Katie Savani Gelfand. We light our chalice as a symbol of our gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our life together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity.
In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us.
One of the things that's easiest to be generous with is a smile, and it can transform your world when you go through it with a smile on your face. The reactions that you get from other people surprise and delight you. So Tom has a poem for us to share with us. That's why he's here. I know you were wondering. About how infectious smiles are.
This is a poem by Spike Milligan called Smiling is Infectious. Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I passed around a corner and someone saw my grin, and when he smiled, I realized I had passed it on to him. I thought about that smile and then I realized its worth. A single smile just like mine could travel around the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Let's start an epidemic quick and get the world infected.
So let's start our own epidemic of generous smiling. I'm going to start one over here and start one over here, and we can pass them through the sanctuary. If you don't feel comfortable participating, you can just put your hand up when the smile comes to you, and it can skip you. But if you do feel comfortable, please just pass that smile, snaking back through each side like this, all right? I'm going to start it. Yeah. Did it make it all the way back? All right. And now we will sing the children on their way.
Okay, that's a bit of a hard act to follow.
You know what? I told you wrong.
Oh,
Apparently, I'm
so I'm
doing
not
the
going
welcome
to.
first. It was a sneak preview of features to come. Today, we are exploring the concept of generosity. For those who are new or are here for one of your first times, a special welcome. We're glad you've taken the leap, dare I say, leap of faith, to be here today, and that you're risking trying something new. May we all continue to practice and to experience the generosity of spirit that makes us all feel warmly and sensitively welcomed according to our comfort and our need. May we feel connected and stirred by what we encounter here today. And a special welcome to those of you joining us on Zoom. So throughout the summer, we're exploring 6 values with love as the center, as the action point, holding them all together. This is part of a process of Unitarian Universalists from all over who are clarifying for this new era that we find ourselves in, clarifying what matters most to us and why. We're trying new language on for size and fit to decide whether we've got this right enough to claim these values and this language for ourselves. In the proposed changes to the Unitarian Universalist Association's bylaws, wherein we enumerate our values, this is the language about generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. So much of what goes on at UUCM is an embodiment of that. The relationship between the kids who attend Kids Connection and the volunteers who spend time with them are part of that, are a reflection of that. And I have asked, you'll never guess who, Corey Silva, to highlight another aspect of life at UUCM, the drop-in support group, where generosity of spirit, interdependence, and mutuality are cultivated and bloom.
We'll try that again. I'm here to talk about the weekly drop-in support circle. About 10 years ago, during a service, a congregant shared their experience with severe depression. As a result of that courageous act, it was decided that we needed a way to support people in our community who were struggling in their personal lives. As good UUs, we looked at this idea every way, inside out, upside down, and backwards. We had brainstorming sessions and cottage meetings. We planted many seeds, and from that, ideas grew. Ultimately, we developed a format for a weekly drop-in support circle where people can gather in a safe space to share what is in their hearts. Sharing is confidential, and feedback is given only when requested or with permission. These are not therapy sessions. A facilitator is there to hold the space and support the participants. All are welcome to participate and arrive as they are, in need of support or to support others. People are invited to speak or simply sit in silence if they are so moved. Some weeks I arrive with joy and abundant gratitude in my heart. Other times, such as lately, I come feeling overwhelmed with sadness and a sense of powerlessness about a situation that is hurting people I love. I am so grateful for the generosity of spirit from my fellow attendees who express kindness and caring. Compassionate listening is compassionate listening is practiced, and on occasion, when time permits, jokes are bantered about. The drop-in support circle has been a consistent presence, a weekly tradition. The group meets for 50 minutes in the little annex adjacent to the library at noon on Sundays. When COVID hit, we shifted to Zoom. This still works well for some, so now we meet in person and also offer virtual attendance. We want everyone to have the opportunity to participate in person or from home. Some of us, okay, I'm talking about myself, really struggle with the technology piece. It's an ongoing lesson in patience for me. In our varietal garden that we are cultivating at UUCM, our group offers a branch, perhaps an olive branch, by which you can feel connected. If you have questions or would like to know more, please contact one of the facilitators, Janet Bullock, Wally Holton, Tom Wernig, or myself. Thank you.
Each week we gather in this place so that our lives may touch with the lives of others. Whether to share our delights or to share our sorrows, this gathering helps us remember that we are not alone, that our paths are intertwined, and that we are connected by mutual concern for one another. At this time in the service, we drop stones into a bowl of water, which signifies the caring of this community. When the music begins, as you are willing and able, please come forward and choose a stone to symbolize that which you carry with you today, and drop it into the water to be held by this community. Those on Zoom, please feel free to type into the chat any joys and sorrows in your hearts that you wish to share.
I put those last stones in for the joys and sorrows which we are not ready to share yet, that are in the quiet of our hearts. A few more pictures of generosity. And the choir is going to sing a song for you called Sicut Cervus. It's in Latin. And Toby selected this song because of the lines of interdependence and mutuality, the way that the lines that the choir is singing work together. So you can listen for that. It goes along with the description of generosity.
Sicut servus desiderabant fontes ad
My friends, I stand before you to tell you that I struggle with generosity. There I sat on my couch this week working on this service. I was savoring in just little sips a treat in the form of a can of flavored bubbly water. It was blueberry pomegranate. It was delicious. My 27-year-old sat down next to me, put their hand out, and asked if they could have some of my water. And I hesitated. If you really must know, I didn't want to share. And then I realized the absurdity of working on a service on generosity and not being able to share my water. And so it goes for this adventure of being a human, doesn't it? Okay, I did share my water. And I know this about myself, the way I struggle with generosity, which is why I signed up for this service on generosity. Aren't you glad? So many of you teach me things about generosity on a regular basis. How you bake cookies for coffee hour and clean up afterward and mow the grass out front and serve on the board and act as greeters on Sunday mornings and call the bereaved and balance the books and feed the unhoused and work with the Citizens Climate Change Lobby and staff the overnight emergency shelter and disrupt voter suppression and host a Haitian family fleeing violence. The list goes on and on. For a people, most of whom don't believe in a heaven or hereafter, what calls us to do good? Not some promise of great reward, but instead a recognition of mutuality, not noblesse oblige, like the biblical concept, to whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48, I have to say, because I have never quoted chapter and verse in this sanctuary or anywhere else for that matter. But I digress. Not noblesse oblige, but as the Indigenous Australian visual artist Lilla Watson wrote, if you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come here because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. That right there is the true spirit of generosity. It recognizes the mutuality and interdependence of our supposedly separate lives. So when you heard that this Sunday's service was going to be about generosity, is this what you pictured? It is the first thing that came to my mind, too. But generosity is so much larger than giving money, isn't it? Sometimes it's about sips of bubbly water, or that last slice of pie, or the uninterrupted silence of a starry summer night. I know you know what I mean. I've been musing on the concept of labor of love. So we use this to mean something that we dedicate ourselves to, but for which we will make no money, right? As if making money were the be-all and end-all. I posit for us, if love is at the center of our values, if justice is love in action, if, as the Article 2 Study Commission has written, we are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love, then isn't a labor of love our greatest aspiration? Maria Popova, the essayist and blogger, boils it down to giving equals love. Could it really be that simple? But yes, if generosity is the act of giving while expecting nothing in return, then doesn't it follow that giving equals love? Why do we get up at night with a crying child? Why does a photojournalist's capture move us to donate? Because somewhere deep down we know this truth, that giving equals love. Black Baptist minister Gregory Spencer writes, "Generosity is the predisposition to love open-handedly. Our hands matter, both literally and symbolically. In the open hand, our palms are up and our fingers extended. A closed hand is usually a clenched fist, tightly grasping what it wants to keep or tensely preparing for battle. To be generous requires that we open our hands." And indeed, in American Sign Language, to give looks like this. Palms up, fingers extended. Giving equals love. In her book, Emergent Strategy, Shaping Change, Changing Worlds, Adrienne Marie Brown writes, "Do you already know that your existence, who and how you are, is in and of itself a contribution to the people and place around you? Not after or because you do some particular thing, but simply the miracle of your life, and that the people around you and the places have contributions as well. Do you understand that your quality of life and your survival are tied to how authentic and generous the connections are between you and the people and place you live with and in?" She goes on, "Are you actively practicing generosity and vulnerability in order to make connections between you and others clear, open, available, durable? Generosity here means giving of what you have without strings or expectations attached. Vulnerability means showing your needs." Ms. Brown touches on something key here. This is perhaps the hardest part of the generosity equation, that generosity is a two-way street where we recognize that in giving we are also receiving, and that in receiving we are showing our own vulnerability. When I asked what generosity looks like in a photograph, many of you responded, as you've seen, with photos of gardens, the absurd abundance of an apple tree or a bean plant or a tomato plant present us with this time of year. Not to mention zucchini, am I right? These things are perfect in displaying the idea of giving with no expectation of receiving anything in return, the abundance of plants. And yet they left me musing on the hidden background, on the joyful, willing work that goes into that abundance, the soil preparation, the nurturing of seedlings, the weeding, the watering. We set the scene. We sow before we reap, don't we? But it is joyful work. It is, if I may, a labor of love. So may we be. So for this song, I thought we could do some American Sign Language. Are you ready? We can embody this song. You already know what give is. All right, so for from is the hardest sign, the sign that I found to be the hardest. You make two C's. You put one upside down, from, as if you're pulling off of there. From you, I receive. Receive. From you, I receive. Two, oops, sorry. That'll wake you up. To you, I give. Together, we, you end at your shoulder, we share. And from again, from this, we live. So that last part is together, we share. From, from this, we live. You ready? No perfection required. One more time. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and this we The earth was from Susan Sanford. I don't think she took the picture. So each week here on Sunday mornings, we get a chance to put our love in action, to practice generosity. This congregation is fully self-supporting, as is each UU congregation. Your monetary donations help to create and maintain this place where we seek to create beloved community and the world as we know it could be. And every month, a quarter of our collection goes to a local nonprofit that reflects our values. This month, 25% of our offering will support Animal Place in Grass Valley, whose mission is to provide refuge for unwanted farmed animals, to further their welfare through education of the public, and to foster ethics of compassion and responsibility toward non-human animals by advocating a vegan lifestyle. Your giving is vital to our ability to sustain the work of this community. Thank you for your generosity. Will the readers please come forward to accept the offering? If you would like 100% of your donation to go to Animal Place, please place it in the white envelope that you'll find in the collection plate. And see the slide for ways to give by text, PayPal, UUCM's website, or by mail. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. We dedicate this offering to our love in action, building a world that is more compassionate, sustainable, and just, to sowing so that we, all of us, may reap. Thank you to all our readers this morning, Sue Gregory, Corey Silva, Tom Wernig, Toby, thank you for your music, as always, such a pleasure. To all the members of the choir, we rehearse on Wednesday evenings, we don't always sing in Latin. Come join us, it's an open group. To the photographers, people who sent in photographs, Renee Wiley, Teresa Houtman, Susan Sanford, Jim Bear, and Alice Johnson. Thanks to our stellar audiovisual team back there, Paul, Andy, and Cypress. Thanks also to Bob Miller. Now we have to pay him. Thank you to Eileen for being our chat host extraordinaire, to Linda Siska for our beautiful setting, to our greeters, Lori Bell, Gwen Iman, and Carl Snyder, and to Lori, Shannon, and people with last names starting with A through M for our refreshments after the service today, and to Linda Siska and Cheryl Spalding for being with the kids today. You're very welcome. Speaking of generosity, says Gail, join the Finance Committee. It's a fun time with good people. Get out the vote. You can pick up postcards for Virginia in the foyer. We're under full swing at this point. And Spirituality Sharing Circle is a wonderful, intimate group that meets once a month. It'll be this coming Saturday at 3 p.m. And you can learn about our Sunday services and upcoming events and all kinds of things, including our history, on our website at uugrassvalley.org. Let's sing one more time. Adrienne Marie Brown's words bear repeating. Do you understand that your quality of life and your survival are tied to how authentic and generous the connections are between you and the people and place you live with and in? May we remember to be generous of spirit in days to come as we carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. We'll see you next Sunday right here at 10:30 for Love in Public, not either or. And if you're here in the building, please join us for refreshments down the hall.